What's up, everybody? It's your favorite, most friendly, amazing podcast host, Jason McCormick, and my amazing, trusty sidekick, Mr. Charlie Bartha.
Hey, everybody.
Charlie! We'd like to welcome you to the show. You are listening to This Can Make Us Famous podcast, and we're going to jump right into it because we got a lot to talk about, so much to cover. Hopefully y'all will enjoy it. Just sit back and relax. Here we go. What's up, Charlie? What's going on, man?
Not a heck of a lot.
You had to work today, right?
I had to work.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to as well. We were doing a lot of yard work. My wife is she does property management, and she also has a real estate license. And so she has been working with her first property that she's managing. So she's cleaning it out because the gentleman passed away a couple months ago, and unfortunately he was a hoarder. And it's full
That's using the term loosely.
Yeah, and he's a hoarder of not nice things. I mean, there's probably some nice things, but
Hey, one man's junk is another man's treasure.
I knew you were going to say that, but yeah, I wasn't very impressed with the stuff that was there because there was a lot of just random miscellaneous items. So it has to be cleaned out, and it's pretty overwhelming. And then the yard's in really bad shape, so we have to keep that mowed. And his house had a lot of very large oak trees. And oh my goodness, the ground is just covered in sticks and leaves, and the grass is mostly dead. So been over there working, went over and mowed this guy's yard, helped him out. And yeah, so staying busy. And then we're working in the studio right now. I've been telling you guys, or kind of keeping you updated as much as I can on this new transition with the show. Charlie's going to be moving over to another part, and he's going to be our professional research guy, and he's going to be on it basically as a host. And yeah, so he's going to be over there. It's still under construction. We just got the trim to put up. I did the cut for the trim pieces today, so I just need to cut the angles, and I don't like doing angles. It's not fun. So, and then the microphone, which I've been waiting for close to a month now, is arriving tomorrow. That's what they say. That's what they say.
It hasn't showed up. It's shipped yet, but it's arriving tomorrow.
Right. I mean, they may have not even created the microphone they're giving to me. Who knows? So anyways, I'm being patient. I'm grateful for what I have already. So, yeah, so next week, my plan is to, that's the plan. It's not a guarantee. We're going to be able to have 3 people on the show. And I'm very excited about that. It's kind of hard to talk when it's just 2 people. But
Uno, dos, tres.
Uno, dos, tres. Which reminds me, I was supposed to do my Spanish lesson today through that Babbel app, and I've been neglecting that, so got to get to it. So yeah, the studio's coming along. I'm excited. Look forward to it. Can't wait for you guys to see it. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. So there was breaking news that happened within the last few days. I'm sure everyone has heard about it. This gentleman by the name of what was his name? Oh, Forrest Finn. He writes poems, right? Yeah, he has a poem book that he wrote. Well, he created a clue for some treasure that he hid, and the clue was that he hid it from anywhere from Santa Fe to the Canadian border, and someone found it. They had just found it, and they're not releasing their name, but he did receive the picture that the treasure was found.
Yeah, the poem was in his book.
Yeah, it was in his book,
The Thrill of the Chase.
The Thrill of the Chase.
And there was
At least 5 people died.
nine clues in the poem that
That led to it. Oh,
led
okay,
to
9 clues. And the news says that at least 5 people died pursuing this treasure, and at least 250,000 people look for it. There was people that quit their jobs, people that spent their entire life savings, risking their life to find the treasure. Really big deal. And the Forrest said his main goal for all this was to get people out of the house, out into nature, and he felt sad by the people that lost their lives and lost everything looking for it, but he was grateful that it did allow people to get out of the house, and that was his main goal. He even mentioned that there were people that have emailed him and said that, even though they didn't find it, that they're still they're going to go out into nature and into the mountains, because it was hidden in the Rocky Mountains somewhere.
somewhere between Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the
Yep.
Canadian border.
And that must have been one amazing treasure hunt. Could you imagine that? So read the poem. Do you want to read it, or I can? Charlie's going to read the poem and see if you guys can figure out what it's talking about.
As I have gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down, not far, but too far to walk. Put in below the home of Brown. From there, it's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to seize. But tarry I can't with marvel gaze. Just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it, tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. For effort will be worth the cold if you are brave and in the wood. I give you title to the gold.
You were just listening to Story Time with Charlie Bartha. I should have had like a little sound effect where it sounded really cool when you were reading it. Wow, that was really deep. I don't think I would have been able to figure that out. Do you think you could have done it?
No, but there's this breakdown of it here. Begin where the waters halt.
Mm-hmm.
Cannon down, too far to walk. Put in below, home of the brown. No place for the meek. End is ever nigh. No paddle up your creek. Heavy loads, water high. Blaze, quickly down, seas. Are the 9 clues hidden.
Huh. That's interesting, actually. I still wouldn't have been able to figure it out, but that's pretty cool. Let me ask you this, and ask all the listeners on the podcast and those watching. If you guys won, if you were the one that found the treasure, what would you do with the treasure? One, would you want your name to be released so everyone would know? And then also, what would you do with the money you got, which is over $1 million in that treasure chest? What would you do, Charlie? What was the first thing you would do besides give me a massive chunk of that money?
That is the first thing. Goshy. I don't know. I just probably have to play with it for quite a while before I did anything with it. Like
Oh,
throw
so
it
you
up in the
just
air
play.
and let it come down and fall on my head. And
You just lay in a bed and just like let it just. I'm so rich. Well, that's a pretty cool dream. I'll tell you what I would do. I would probably um, buy my wife a really nice house um, in a nice area. And I would have a house, though, that was so nice that um, like maybe the basement I could turn into a podcast studio so we can have more room than this. And buy my son, I don't know, just something really, really nice, put some money in college for him, and invest for sure. Definitely invest in properties that can make you more
and
money.
gold. You're going to invest in
Invest in gold, even though you already have the gold. Like, can you imagine that? Like, I'd like to buy some gold. Sir, you're paying with gold. Exactly. No, I would do that. And then one thing I really want to buy is a new car because right now, I told you guys before in previous podcasts that the car we have now is a piece of junk. Chevy Cruze, can't stand the car.
Can't fit in the car.
Can't fit in the car, and the car can't work like it was designed to work. Well, I don't think they designed it to work, honestly. But anyways, I want to get a car, and I saw the other day this amazing looking Dodge, the company Dodge, came out with a rendering of the Dodge. What was it? The Dodge Charger. Man, what did they say? Oh, Ram Charger. Dodge Ram Charger. That thing looks so amazing. I'm going to put a picture up of the
Is it
the
a
Ram
truck
Charger.
or a car?
It's like like the Ford Bronco looks. It's
Yeah.
like that, but I'm going to put a picture up for those watching so they can see. Look at how awesome that looks, man.
Oh, yeah.
I would straight up buy that. If I won that treasure, I'd buy that. I don't know how much it's going to be because it's just a rendering, but based on the comments that I saw, people were blown away by that. I mean, that looks bad to the bone, dude. So, who knows? It is just a rendering, but I'd buy that sucker. I do want a Tesla, but that's somewhere down the road. That's big money.
You can only go so far in a Tesla, though.
Right, before you run out of juice. And I don't know if I would want to deal.
It's not like you can stop them. Hey, I need a charge.
Yeah, well, they do got people that do that show up, but you got to wait for them to show up. I mean, I couldn't imagine being out in the middle of nowhere and you're
It's not like running
Tesla
out of gas. When most people can help you when you run out of gas, but when you run out of charge, you're kind of like
right.
stranded.
Yeah, that's true. So,
You know?
but I don't know if I do a gas vehicle, it would probably be that Ram Charger. I mean, that thing is bad to the bone. You guys have already seen the picture. I'm sure you're drooling out your mouth. I was kind of torn when companies started doing the bringing back the old vehicles. I can't remember who was the first to do that. It might have been Dot. No, I think it was the Camaro. I think Chevy did the Camaro, brought that back, and it ended up being a huge hit. And then you had Dodge did do the Challenger, and I wasn't a huge fan of the Challenger and how it looked. And then Ford came in with their Mustang.
Well, that's because that's not the way it originally looked.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the new Challenger versus the old Challenger.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so they're all doing it basically, and I think this one's like they knocked this out of the park. The Chevy even though I don't want a GM at all, you're doing better, Charlie. Eye contact. I got onto him last time about that. He wasn't ever looking at the camera, so I couldn't do thumbnails, but we got some epic thumbnails for the other one. So yeah, I don't know. I liked where they were going with the Chevy Blazer. That was a sweet looking car, but I won't buy a GM product again. So unfortunately, and I saw one today when we were at the grocery store. I was looking out in the parking lot and I saw it. I was like, dude, that's so bad to the bone, but I don't want GM. But yeah, I would buy a nice car and take a cruise and I don't know, go anywhere and everywhere. Go to San Diego. Go check out that area. I've never been there. Go across the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, be awesome, man. Which brings me to my next segment, the Golden Gate Bridge. I saw that the Golden Gate Bridge was the engineers designed something with the sidewalks to help the wind pass through. And unfortunately, that design was kind of flawed because now the Golden Gate Bridge makes this really, really, really loud, obnoxious noise. And I listened to a video of it. I don't know if I can even play it, but if I can play it, I'll play it so you guys can see it. If not, go look for yourselves. Just go on youtube.com and look up Golden Gate Bridge noise. It's so creepy sounding, man. It's like it makes a howling noise, and I don't know how they're going to fix that. I'm sure they're going to come up with something, but it's pretty crazy. But the Golden Gate Bridge is just this epic bridge that I've always wanted to go visit, but it's also a sad place because a lot of people have died on that bridge. They've jumped off and killed themselves, or how many people died building it?
11 construction workers and 28 laborers
Died building that? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Well, he's from Michigan. My wife's family's from Michigan, and her grandparents, they live up in the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and you have to go across this bridge called Mackinac Bridge. And it's kind of a scary bridge. I mean, especially when the wind is blowing real hard. What are the Great Lakes that are on each side? You got Lake Huron,
Michigan.
Lake Michigan, and then Lake Huron. So so the bridge just basically cuts it down the middle, and it connects you to the Upper Peninsula. So, but
All the Straits of Mackinac.
yeah, and how many people died building the
Oh, a lot more than what did.
Golden Gate?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's actually a museum. There's a pizza shop, and up top of the pizza shop, there's a museum in downtown Mackinac City.
The people basically fell down the poles, right?
Yep.
They slid down into the poles, and they obviously died because the poles went way down in the water. I'm sure there's intense pressure, and a fall like that, you would just die from the fall. And then they had concrete poured over them. So, did you find it?
Yep. We'll see if this is it.
Hold it up to the microphone.
It should be.
Oh, you're hooked up here? You hear that?
Sounds kind of creepy.
It's like a loud howl. That's got to be ear piercing, driving through that. Golly, man. And how long does it take to get across the Golden Gate Bridge? I'm sure it's not like a real quick ride. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, that's eerie. That's very eerie. So yeah, there you have it, Golden Gate Bridge. They had a major engineer flaw or design flaw to that what they created to help. They wanted to help allow the wind to pass easily through the Golden Gate Bridge, and instead they created that problem. Which you got to think about it though. One day they're gonna have to rebuild the Golden Gate Bridge. It probably won't be in any one of our lifetimes, but I would imagine one day they're going to have to rebuild that bridge.
The Guardian Calls it a giant wheezing kazoo.
A giant wheezing kazoo. Yeah, I mean I watched this show. What was it called? Modern Marvels. I can't remember. I think that might be it. But they had the show had people like engineers, and they followed them when they were designing these epic bridges and epic tunnels and stadiums, and it's fascinating. Like some of these bridges, man, are just mind blowing and
Yeah.
how they create them. And I'm sure less people die doing them now than back in the day. But it's so crazy what people are capable of doing, what they're capable of designing and making happen. When you see these epic stadiums and just these bridges and skyscrapers, just to think that someone designed that and a bunch of people built it and made it happen. It's crazy to me. But yeah, so the Golden Gate Bridge is now the whistling kazoo. So if you want to go hear a epic kazoo, you need to go to the Golden Gate Bridge. And maybe that'll keep people from jumping off the bridge, They'll go to the bridge and be like, "Oh, this is annoying. I don't want to jump off the bridge now." Maybe that's their intention. Do you think maybe they did that on purpose to keep people from doing that?
Don't think so, but if it works, it works.
I mean, shoot, whatever works. Whatever works. Whatever keeps people from doing that. So yeah, I would like to actually. We were talking about Mackinac Bridge. I was hoping in the next couple months, maybe less, to go back up and visit the grandparents-in-law because it's really nice up there. I'm not quite a fan of the winter time up there because it is brutal, man. You got snow that goes up to the roof. And I'm not exaggerating, guys. I'll see if I can pull up some pictures and show you guys.
Yeah, he should be on his messenger.
Yeah, I got some pictures. Yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. I went there and I'm driving in the neighborhood and I'm like, first of all, where is the neighborhood? Because everything is covered in snow up to the roof, icicles that are bigger than you that are hanging. I mean, they probably have snow right now. It's summertime for us and they're probably having a blizzard. I mean, it's just crazy, man. And then you got Lake Superior up there, which is beautiful. I mean, the trees are beautiful. Everything's beautiful up there. But
You said you went in
can't
Lake
go
Superior?
swimming in Lake Superior.
You can too.
When? When can you go? Because I went in July when you guys got married, and I couldn't even bear. I put my toe in there and it went numb. And then my friend John, won't mention his last name, but there's a lot of great stories with John. He is a daredevil and he does anything and everything. And this dude, first time being introduced to Lake Superior, the largest lake in the world, I believe, or at least in the U.S. He dives right into Lake Superior. Okay, I dip my toe in there and my toe goes numb and he just freaking dives into Lake Superior. And those waves are treacherous, man. It's like you can't tell the ocean apart from Lake Superior. It's amazing, man.
Oh, the Hudson River flows in there.
The Hudson River, which goes into the Atlantic Ocean.
Yep.
It's pretty amazing. I'd like to go fishing on there, though.
You guys need to go up Sioux Locks. Check that out. Where you out up there.
What's Sioux Locks?
Well, you know what a lock is, don't you?
Lock is that like a channel or?
Basically.
Okay.
So basically what it is the two lakes come together. One's lower elevation.
Oh,
So
okay.
they got a lock that raises you up, and then you go.
Oh, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about. Wow. I didn't know that. Yeah, I'd like to do that. I mean, I've been on a ferry, my first ferry when we were in Seattle, visiting some family, my wife's family on her dad's side. We were in Seattle and we went on a ferry ride across. I don't even remember.
That was not your first ferry.
No, first drive on ferry.
Oh, first drive on ferry.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on a ferry before because, taking you to Mackinac Island, you have to get on a ferry. Well, this one was a huge, giant ferry that you drive your car on and you just stay in the car and it takes you across.
They have two of those in Michigan.
Oh, really?
One up in Ludington, one in Muskegon. The one in Muskegon is a super speed one.
Oh, really?
Takes you across in less time. The one up in Ludington, I don't know, gosh, 4 or 5 hours we across.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
Well, they used to take the trains across. They took all the train rails out of it, though.
Oh, do they have like a restaurant in it?
Yeah, actually, you could stay in rooms and
Really?
sleep and everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it had restaurants and a bar and
Wow. Yeah, this one had a restaurant in it. It was so huge, but it was cold because we went in January, so it was pretty dang cold. So it was hard to stand out there on the front dock, I guess you call it. So I was like shivering. I remember like just running out there real quick and like, oh my God, it looks great. And I tried to get my wife to do a picture, and we're like freezing to death. But yeah, it was an experience of a lifetime right there. And we wanted to go up into the Space Needle. I think that's what you call it. And
yep, that's left from the World's Fair.
oh yeah. Well, all I know is it's so expensive that we didn't go. We're like, you know what? We could just imagine what it's like to be up there because I'm not spending that. I think it was like, what was it? Like $60 a person to go up there and just look out there, which would be nice if you're going on a date, but we were just tourists there. Which reminds me of when we were in Seattle. This is amazing. Okay, so you guys aren't going to believe this, so stay tuned. Don't close the video or the podcast because you're going to be blown away. When we were in Seattle, we decided to go see one of my all-time childhood favorite heroes.
Batman?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not Batman. So most of you know,
Superman.
if you're a Bruce Lee fan, you know he was from China. Well, Seattle. He moved to Seattle, Washington, and that's where he did his movie career. That's where he lived, and he was when he passed away. He was buried somewhere up on a hill in Seattle, and so was his son. And we went to his funeral, his gravesite. And while we're driving up there, there was a white car trailing behind us, and so we're like, okay, we're in. You know how like graveyards are. It's kind of hard to navigate. You got these little narrow roads, and you don't know where you're going. And this was a big cemetery, and so this car was like right on us. So we pull over and we just tell the person, hey, you can go ahead and go around us. So we get out to go see Bruce Lee and his son's gravesite, and there was this white guy and a Asian dude, really tiny old man, and they walked up to the grave of Bruce Lee, and we kind of talked a little bit, and the white guy was the caretaker of this gentleman, and he told me, do you realize who this guy is? This was Bruce Lee's best friend, his right-hand man. I think it's Yoshi Takamashi. Let me see here. Bruce Lee, best friend. Yeah, he was. Yeah, so it's Taki Kimura. And he was Japanese American martial artist.
Wait. You just said Bruce was from China. This guy's from Japan.
I know, but he's Japanese, but Bruce Lee's definitely Chinese. But he was his best friend, and they were very, very close. As a matter of fact, he was one of 3 to be personally certified to teach Jeet Kune Do, which was Bruce Lee's, what he created. Yeah, Jeet Kune Do. And he taught Taki Kimura personally. So that was the guy that was there at the gravesite. Little tiny Japanese guy, but I'm telling you what, man. When I found that out, I knew that, and the way that guy stood, he was very peaceful, and I knew he could whoop my behind. I got a picture of me standing next to him, so I'll post that up. Dude, he was really calm, like very, very nice, and he told us the stories about him and Bruce. And I remember reaching I went to do a picture, and I went and put my arm around him, and I could tell he wasn't like very comfortable necessarily with that, but he kind of just went with it. And I didn't think about it. Like, this dude could totally just snap my arm off and beat me with it. And he's like, I don't know, 70 something years old, maybe older. So wait a minute, he's older than that, because he was born in 1924. So that would make him, so he would be, I don't know, something. I'm not doing the math.
Just shy of 100 years.
Oh, he's not. It says right here, he's 96 years old. You got to be kidding me, man. I got beat up by a 96-year-old man that was personally trained by Bruce Lee.
A couple years ago, so 94-year-old.
Yeah, when I saw him, he was 94. That's true, Charlie. Thanks for doing the math for me. But you know what? If he beat me up, that would have been a huge honor. Could you imagine that? Like, I would have left the fist mark on my face and like had it tattooed. Like, I got beat up by Bruce Lee's best friend. So yeah, that was a highlight of that trip, to be honest with you. It was amazing. Yeah, Bruce Lee. Heck yeah, man. Did you ever get into his movies? No, that always cracked me up. Because, like, in those movies, they would make it, like, English. And so it'd be like, you go there. I will fight you. And they're just like, and they'd have these, like, epic sound effects. Like, I don't like the way you looked at me. Man, we've come a long way. But I don't care what anyone says. Bruce Lee's a freaking legend, man. He's the greatest fighter ever. He can beat up anybody. Bruce Lee.
What about our own Chuck Norris?
He could beat up Chuck Norris.
You better not let Chuck hear you say
I better
that.
be careful, man. I might get beat up for that.
Where's that Jason McCormick live?
Oh, he wouldn't even have to guess. He would just be here. He just appears in the podcast. Like, you see a fist come out of the microphone
and he knows
punch
this,
me.
and he knows this area quite well too, because friends of ours,
No, Chuck?
they bred dogs, and Chuck got his dogs from them.
Oh, well, shoot. Great. Now Chuck is going to come after me. Okay, Chuck. You had a fight already with Bruce Lee, okay? And he won. Mind you, it was a movie. It was a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, there we go.
But still, Bruce Lee won.
The punches came about 6 feet from each other's face.
Yeah. I don't know. Chuck Norris, dude. He is bad at the bone. He's a cool guy, and he just gives you that look. Like, my favorite role that he played, though, was Walker, Texas Ranger. Did you ever watch that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I watched all that. Loved it, but I don't know, man. I think Bruce Lee is one of the greatest of all time. He'll go down in history forever.
Like Rudolph?
Like Rudolph. He'll go down in history. Yep. Indefinitely. So, I'm going to move into the next segment. We talked enough about Bruce and his epicness. I like this podcast today. Just a little, you can almost hear crickets in the background. Not really.
We'd play crickets, but he took it off the board.
Yeah, that's right. I need to get those crickets back, man. That's the most important sound effect on this whole thing is crickets. You
Is
know?
it?
Yeah. Why not? You should have crickets on there. Well, I tell you what, it's gonna be awesome, Willow, when we get the third person on here and we're gonna be like fighting for a conversation, you know? I'll be trying to cut in, trying to listen, I'm the host of the show. And you won't even let me talk, okay? Some feelings will get hurt. But anyways, the next
It'd be
segment.
even worse when I get my little board that's attached
Oh
to
yeah,
this one,
Charlie.
too.
I'm gonna try to get a little extension with little sound pads, and I'm gonna have Charlie just go to town with the different sound effects. He'll probably just be over there. Just yeah, I'll say something amazing, and he'll just pick a sad trombone. So guys,
So I met Chuck Norris the other day. He was shopping at Price Chopper where I was shopping at.
no, I've met some cool celebrities. Not only that guy, but I met the most famous person I met. True story. This is something I should talk about because I haven't.
Is this the airport story?
Yes. Okay, so I was on my way back. The Chiefs had just won the Super Bowl, which I was super excited about. I was all the way up in the UP helping my aunt move her stuff and uncle move their stuff up there. And I'm in the Packer
Auntie
territory.
M?
Yeah, Auntie M. Yep. So I'm in Packer territory, okay? And so I was a little nervous up there because they lost and they didn't make it. They could have been playing the Chiefs, but they didn't.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of cheeseheads anyway.
Bunch of cheeseheads. But anyways, I wouldn't say that there, but
No, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is not Detroit Lions fans, by the way.
they're
They're
Packers
Green
fans.
Bay Packers.
All the way, man. So we're in a hotel or a casino hotel, and I'm watching the Chiefs game and super excited. There was only one Chiefs fan there, only because his best friend was a Chiefs fan and made him wear the Chiefs uniform. So he was there. We watched it at the bar. Awesome game, nail biter, amazing. I'm watching it instead of from being at home in Kansas City, watching my Chiefs win. I had to be there. Here's where I'm getting to. So I get back from the next day. So they had just had the parade. And I think that, the day after the parade. So I think that was on Monday. I'm at the Kansas City airport waiting for my wife to pick me up. And I'm just sitting down and I look up and I see out of the corner of my eye someone that looked like a friend of mine. So I'm like, oh, is that? Oh, okay, no. And then I look back up and I'm like, no way, man. I'm like, that's freaking Paul Rudd, man. So Paul Rudd, who, if you're a fan of his, you know that he's from Kansas City. Well, he was obviously here to celebrate the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and the parade. So he was here for the parade. And he was at the Kansas City airport. And so I'm sitting there and I had to think to myself, do I go up to him and talk to him or do I not? Do I want to be that fan or that person that annoys them when they're just trying to relax? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to annoy him because, for one, nobody would believe me. None of my friends would believe me that I met Paul Rudd. And two, it's just like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Maybe this podcast will get successful and I'll have Paul Rudd on and I can remind him of I was
Remember
that annoying
that
guy.
day?
Yeah, the day after the Chiefs parade, that annoying guy that just bothered you. Okay, so I was sitting there and I decided I'm going to stand up. I'm going to approach him. He went to the Starbucks that was in the airport. And so I go up to him, man, and I stood behind him. He gets his coffee. And I said, excuse me. And I know when he heard that, he knew exactly what was coming because he's a A-lister movie star. And then he turns around and he had like a little tiny smirk on his face. And I said, are you Paul Rudd? And he's just like, yeah. I mean, he wasn't mean, but he wasn't nice either. So I didn't hold it against him. I mean, he's just trying to be peaceful at the airport and not be bothered. So I was like, "Are you Paul Rudd?" And he said, "Yeah." Would you mind if I had a picture with you? No. And so then he leaned in for a picture. I took the picture, and then I talked to him just for like a few seconds. I was like, "So, where are you heading off to?" And he said, "New York." And then I said, "Well, I just got back from Michigan. It was really cold up there." And unfortunately, I had a cold, a really bad cold. And so I had my ears, like when you fly, like my ears, like I get really sharp pain in my ears. And I couldn't hear hardly anything he was saying. So it was just real quiet. And that's why I moved on. And also, I didn't want to bother him anymore. So I saw him, Paul Rudd, got a picture. I will show it right here. A picture of Paul Rudd. Pretty epic, right? So I can put that on my bucket list.
Ooh.
And maybe I'll get to meet him. Another celebrity.
What about sports heroes? You get many of those?
Have I met a sports hero? I probably have. But I met.
Did you do a sports heroes Texas?
No, did you?
I absolutely did.
A sports hero.
Yeah. In his day.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, Charlie can't tell us who that is since he did their taxes.
I can tell you that he played for a team out of Texas.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Nice.
And he's probably in his mid to late 60s right now.
Okay.
But on top of him, I've met George Brett.
Really?
And Bo Jackson.
Oh, Bo Jackson, really?
Yes.
Heck yeah, man.
Neither one of them were very
friendly.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I mean, some people are real friendly. Some are just tired of, they're like, I just want to be a normal person. I don't want to be like a zoo animal.
Well, I'd like to meet George again in a different circumstance to see if he's really the way he showed off to be, or if he was just really ticked off. And I've heard he's both ways, so I really don't know.
Yeah.
But the time I met him was for he was doing an appearance for friends of his for a fundraiser for an animal shelter.
Oh.
And these guys were obvious what they were doing.
Right.
They were just getting autographs to sell.
Oh, yeah.
And he gave an autograph outside before he came in. And then once he got in there, this guy mooched his way in front of everybody and tried to get another autograph. And George said, "That's it. I'm done. I'm out of here." They had him come to a bar instead of going to actually where the fundraiser place would have been, and then he wouldn't have probably had that problem. But
wow,
I'd like to meet him in
in a different situation. Yeah.
Bo Jackson had a line of burgers that he put out, and he had also a line of fish products. And we represented that product.
Yeah.
So I got to meet him at his show, and I didn't get to meet him under very good circumstances either, because I was talking about taking a picture of him, because the guy I share our office with is infatuated with Bo Jackson. That's how I become an Oakland Raider fan.
Yeah.
And so I was going to take a picture of me with him, kind of look.
Yeah. It didn't work out.
It didn't work out so well. And then, when I did introduce myself to him, he started going off on how he went into one of the stores and his product was covered up by a sticker.
He got right to business.
He got right to business and didn't mess around. So
hey, I mean, business.
That's a funny story though too, because they, to be at those shows, they obviously have to pay.
Right.
So they kept when they met, they kept sliding him the contract, and he didn't react to it at all. And finally, he comes out and he says, "Usually, I get paid to go to these things."
Oh my God!
And he pushed it right back to him.
Oh wow! Well, there you have it, guys. Bo Jackson. Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't get a very good vibe for him when I met him, but it was under business situation. So Maybe under different.
I hear Michael Jordan is actually a douchebag. I heard that rumor and I had to go check for myself. And there are numerous testimonies of Michael Jordan being extremely rude to his fans. Like extremely rude. I can't even repeat some of the stuff that some of these fans said that Michael Jordan did and said to them. And I don't doubt it, to be honest with you. I mean, the dude is the greatest, arguably, the greatest basketball player to ever play the game. Period. Well, you can't deny this, though, that he has a lot of fans. Like, kids idolize Michael Jordan. They grew up wanting to be like Michael Jordan. The dude is a billionaire from basketball and all of his different the Nike deal and his endorsements that he had.
Yeah, I think he's more famous from his endorsements,
right,
than say basketball.
That's a very, very debatable topic. So, but apparently he's not a nice person, I should say. He's not very nice at all. But there's a lot of celebrities that are like that, though.
He was great in, what was that cartoon?
Oh, Space Jam.
Space Jam. He was great.
Oh, yeah, he was very kind in that one. That's because he got a big fat paycheck. So, but who knows? I might run into him one day and be like, "Hey, man, I heard your podcast, and I just wanted to prove to you that I am a douchebag."
Starts pounding on you.
Yeah, just pounded on me. Which I'd be honored to be like, dude, I got beat up by Bruce Lee's right hand man, best friend. I also got beat up by, yes, Michael Jordan beat me up.
Oh, don't forget to throw Chuck Norris in there too.
Chuck Norris killed me. I died. Man, I love the Chuck Norris jokes. All right, moving along. So yeah, I mean, some celebrities are really nice, but
do you still have that COVID-19 thing with? Was that you that showed me that, or one of the guys at work?
The COVID-19 thing
with.
Oh, the joke.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't think Chuck Norris COVID-19. See, this is why I need Charlie doing the research stuff. It's basically Chuck Norris died. You see this thing that looks like all the different articles that when your favorite celebrity died, and it's saying that Chuck Norris died, and then it went on to basically it was inconvenient for him and he came out of it. So, yeah, that was funny. I laughed so hard. But yeah, Chuck Norris, man, you can't beat that guy. Can't kill him. He kills you. Did you hear that one where Chuck Norris, when he does push-ups, he pushes the earth down? That was I laughed so hard on that one.
Yeah, that guy is so. What was that machine he did the Bowflex? Was he the Bowflex guy?
Oh, the Bowflex. I actually like the Bowflex, man. People hate on it, but I got a lot of good results. I mean, can't you tell? The Bowflex.
I must have put mine together wrong.
Yeah. I liked it, man. I liked it. It was
I put it together backwards.
You put it together backwards?
Yeah.
So you're not like pulling, like there's no tension, resistance. You're like going with, you're like, man, this is really easy. This is super easy. Or maybe I'm just really strong. Yeah, you are strong. Wow. Man, I'm super tired.
Yeah.
We shot this super late, so you're going to get this podcast like in 2 days. Charlie has to work tomorrow at the tax office, so we had to film it tonight or else you guys would not be getting the content at all on Friday. So you'd have to get it on Saturday, and so I'm trying to keep the content coming as much as I can, the podcast. So I did decide, though, it would be best if we didn't film 3 podcasts in a week. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of podcast. And I was looking up some of my favorite podcasters, and they release one a week, I think, 1 or 2. And then they do clips throughout the week. So with me being a beginner and learning the ropes and how to do the shows and just improving my skills, I probably shouldn't be going as hard as I am with pumping out the content as quick as I am right now. But what do you think? You could use a little break, Charlie.
I don't do nothing but sit up here and talk. So,
Hey, that's a big job, though. It's a big job. Well, soon you're going to be, typing. I would have a laptop right here next to me, but unfortunately, the fan on it's so loud. I need to get like a MacBook, or like an iPad where you don't have the fan noise, and I can look stuff up because it's just way too much.
We always have Google.
Yeah.
She's over our shoulder.
Yeah, I have Google. I can ask, which is, I guess I can consider her a host. Yeah. Wouldn't that be fun? Be a whole lot of fun. So,
Or Googie is.
Googie. Oh, that's so funny. My son, when we first got the Google, he was much younger than he is now, and he used to talk to Google, and he'd be like, "Hey, Google, Google, hey, Google," and it was so hilarious. I might have videoed it. It was so adorable. I wanted to actually submit it to Google and they see if they would have used it for one of their commercials. It was so adorable.
Yeah, he was funny.
Thumbnail.
Hey, do you guys like my nice shiny teeth?
Oh yeah, Charlie got his teeth cleaned. Hey, let's talk about that. We didn't even say anything about Charlie's teeth cleaning adventure. I told you about my venture out to get my hair cut. Well, Charlie went and got his teeth cleaned. So what was your experience like getting your teeth cleaned with this whole COVID-19 thing?
Well, I didn't get a gun put to my head like you did.
Yeah, I had a gun put to my head. Smith & Wesson.
Obviously, I couldn't wear a mask, which brings me to the point. Okay. The dentist and the hygienist have their, they got rubber gloves, but still they're inside your mouth working.
Yeah.
And yet, when you go get your hair cut, they make you wear a mask.
Yeah, how does that make sense?
I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense.
There's a lot that doesn't make sense.
That's why the haircut has not happened yet, but the teeth are clean.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And, getting a haircut with your mask, I realize how that does not work because I had some stray hairs, like really long hairs where the mask, the strap went around your ear. And this person was a master hairstylist, so their experience, they're not terrible at cutting hair at all. And it was the mask that caused them to miss some hairs. So I had like long hairs around my ear that I had to go cut myself. And I wasn't too happy about that, but, it's because there was a mask on my head. But like you said, I mean, you would think about it, a dentist who's getting up close and personal with you in your mouth, okay? And,
I did have to take a 5-second quiz.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody that has COVID-19, or have you ever had symptoms of COVID-19?
Have you been out of the country?
Have you been out of the country? Yeah. Have you ever heard of anyone that had COVID-19?
Do you have a temperature?
Do you watch CNN?
Does your dog pass gas? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
That's hilarious. Yeah, and then some of the stuff they're doing, like the precautions they're taking for COVID-19, I find kind of ridiculous. Okay, so I understand they're trying to.
Lab rats. We are lab rats.
So we're at the restaurant the other day, and they're handing us forks and knives in plastic. Guys, it's a waste of time. They're handling, okay, so their hands are touching the plastic that you're pulling the fork out of. So you're grabbing that to get your fork out. So your hand touched the COVID-19 virus or whatever, bacteria on the wrapper, and then you grab the fork out of that. Then also you got the booth, okay? So the booth, you touch that, you touch the seat that other people have touched. Even the plastic cups that they give you or the styrofoam, they touch the styrofoam cup that they gave you. It's just, and then you see different places that are giving you seasonings in the containers, like the little plastic containers. And, well, they touch those too. And then some of them, they'll give you those in the plastic container, but they'll give you an actual bottle of hot sauce or salt and pepper. And so it's just so, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but could just
Lab
be.
rats.
I mean, people touch the doorknob, the handle to get into the restaurant, the paper menus that they're giving you. They have to touch those to give them to you. That's just my view on it. But I wanted to talk about this recent news that I saw today, actually, about Carol Baskin, the star of Tiger King. We talked in a previous podcast about how she acquired the GW Zoo, which was Joe Exotic Zoo. For all you fans of Tiger King, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. For those that haven't seen it, you have no clue what I'm talking about. Like Charlie, bear with me. So Carol Baskin is a huge enemy of Joe Exotic, who is in prison right now for apparently hiring someone to murder Carol Baskin, which I think he was set up and it didn't happen. People set him up. So Jeff, I think his name's Lowe. Jeff Lowe and his wife, they ended up acquiring GW Zoo from Joe Exotic, which is one of the guys that I believe set Joe up. And they recently gave the zoo, I don't know if she purchased it, but Carol Baskin apparently got a hold of the zoo, Joe Exotic Zoo, which I think is a huge slap in the face to Joe. And he can't do anything about it because he's trapped in prison for a long time. So she's talking about how she's going to have to clean up the tiger poop that's left behind and the property that's going to be unkept. And I believe they have like a certain amount of time that they have to be out of the zoo or out of the property. And so I believe Jeff is taking tigers and going to a different location. He doesn't think that that location where GW Zoo is currently is a good location. He doesn't like it at all. So he's like happy to give it to her. So, and apparently they have 120 days to vacate, and they're not going to help Carol. Like they're not obligated to help Carol clean out the property. So she's going to have to take care of all that. So she's going to have a lot of tiger poop. She should be familiar with that since she fed her husband to the tigers, and she had to clean up his poopy remains.
Oh, that'd be so sad if like something didn't digest all the way and she was cleaning it up and there it was.
Oh yeah, like his eyeball. Like, well, that was everything but the eyeball.
Ugh.
And then she just gives it back to him, and they eat the eyeball. Oh. All right, I just made this really rated R. Sorry, guys. Some of the fans are throwing up right now thinking about. But apparently she used a meat grinder, so she could have done that too. So who knows? Maybe she's innocent, Charlie. Maybe she's
not according to that truck we seen on the truck.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, that was funny, dude. So yeah, they got 120 days to get out of there, and she's going to be left with the mess, and there's going to be a lot to clean up. Unkept property, grass to be mowed, weeds, tiger poop. Probably lion poop too. Maybe human poop.
Lions and tigers.
There's probably going to be
bears.
human poop there. I think Jeff, the last thing he does to kind of slap her in the face, he's going to poop. Jeff is going to take a dump where she can see it, and he's going to make her clean it. I know you're going to do it, Jeff. I know you're going to do it. I mean, I would do it. Wouldn't you do it, Charlie? Wouldn't you just squat down and... He can't like Carol Baskin. Maybe he doesn't care because he set up Joe. Anyways, that was the most important news of the night, actually.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm also impressed. We didn't talk about. I'm getting ready to talk about it, but we didn't talk about, the riots and we didn't talk we didn't talk much about COVID-19. So I'm proud of that. And I wanted to end with the last thing I was going to talk about. And then I got to wrap this up. I saw just today, breaking news, which I'm talking about it now, the riots. Or not the riots, but the George Floyd thing. Thomas Lane, who is a rookie officer on the police force, he was released today. He bailed out $750,000, and he was just released today. His argument is that he wasn't involved in the murder, and I guess he's tried to resuscitate George, and he was not in agreement with what happened, and so he's removing himself from what the other officers were responsible for, whatever. So $750,000, he's out of there. There's a good chance he's going to be released for good. So I think he might get out of it because he's a rookie and he really wasn't a key player to it. People would argue that, but I wonder if riots are going to explode because of that, him being released. Do you think that happened?
It probably will, although it's very sad if it does.
Yeah, that will be very, very sad.
The riots are sad enough as it is.
Yeah. Are they still doing riots?
Well, we drove through one the other day.
Oh yeah, that little tiny one. Well, they seem to be like real peaceful now.
Yeah.
Like they're over that whole. That's probably because they're cracking down on Antifa. Tell them to get the heck out of here. But anyways, I said I wouldn't talk about this stuff, but that did happen today. It's breaking news today. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Hopefully the next podcast, we really won't say anything about the riots and what happened to George Floyd and whatever. So it's kind of getting old and I'm kind of bored talking about it. I'll let somebody else talk about it so you guys can get your news about that elsewhere. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. It's been awesome. Me and Charlie are super tired. That's why we're kind of low energy. But I suspect next week, I'm telling you, we're going to come full blast. We're going to work on the content. It's going to be freaking awesome. I'm excited about it.
Yes, if we get the microphone, we have the first guest.
Yeah, if we get the microphone, okay. If we don't, then you guys need to email Guitar Center and
say,
maybe start a riot for me
to
get this dang microphone. But we're excited about it. Thank you for listening to This Can Make Us Famous podcast. We're going to end with the nice little horn here, and tune in for the next one. That's going to be probably next week, and it's going to be amazing. We love you from all of us here. Have a good night.
See you later, everybody. Oh, I didn't hear that one. Which one did you push?
I don't know.